Whether you're thinking about quitting your job, starting a side hustle, or just curious about the realities of being your own boss, this podcast explores the possibilities of being unemployed for a living. Hey, and welcome back to Unemployed for a Living podcast. I'm Ken. That's Cory over there. What's up, Cory?
Living the dream.
We have to work on that intro a little bit, a little bit better, I think.
I think it's perfect. It's low energy. It's soothing. Maybe we don't want to put him to sleep in the first 3 seconds. Yeah, we'll work on
Cory.
it.
That's Cory. Low energy and soothing, I would say, defines him.
Welcome back, man, folks.
Yes, what a good week, an interesting week. Last week's show was well received. People are starting to think about that 30-day challenge and take that 30-day challenge, which if you were following along in the last episode, we kind of issued a challenge to try to make $100. That's all we're saying. Pick something that's a side hustle, something that's an interest, a hobby, something maybe that you're already doing that you want to kind of ramp up and help use it. Yeah, no commitment to it. Just can I make $100 in 30 days doing something that's different? Maybe you use the side hustle finder tool that we talked about a couple episodes.
Nice.
Laundromat. What are episodes?
Got it.
Hey,
got another side hustle.
Cory's starting a laundromat. Well, you did. You
episodes. You can wash your clothes and watch TV at the same time. Episodes.
Oh, like one of those bars, where you go and you can drink while your laundry's going on.
Oh, Suds and Suds.
Yeah, somebody's already done that. But Cory, you've already started like your second 30-day challenge, or had a real good idea for a 30-day challenge.
They just keep coming. That's the problem. I have so many. They just keep coming.
Yeah. And I am just the opposite. I am still working on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
I went through.
we're going to talk about that.
We are going to talk about it. And some of that. Well, let's just jump right into a comment from last week, because it kind of gave us a little bit of direction for the show this week. And
there were some good comments this week.
Oh, it's really great comments, and we appreciate that. So Right Selections commented, and it was a quote from something that Cory had said last week, and the quote was, "If we had given ourselves time to think about it, we wouldn't have done it." And that was about that? You did. That was about jumping into.
Oh, I did say that.
Thinking, not overthinking something. You just if you would have given yourself time to think about what you were doing, you probably wouldn't have done it. And
very true.
And they went on to say, but there's someone that overthinks every little thing as their default. I feel like I have to know what I'm doing before I do it, when the reality is that I won't really know what I'm doing until I do it. They go on to say
some overlap here.
It is. Lack of confidence holds so many of us back. I like that this podcast is encouraging us to look beyond that and just try something new without commitment. Such a simple concept, but I don't think I'm alone in realizing it's a concept I really haven't embraced in decades.
You're so not alone. There's a person on this podcast, and I will not name names, but there's a person on this podcast that's very much like that.
Yes. Well, and again, I think, like I said, I don't think I'm alone in that. I'm an overthinker.
No, you're not.
And I overthink the stuff to the point that I don't actually do it. Where
I need a new hat here.
Of course.
I'm going to put on my psychology hat here for a minute. I had to switch hats. I'm going to put on my psychology hat here and make an observation.
Okay, let's.
I'm wondering, because I don't have this ailment. I don't suffer from this. So I'm wondering from the outside looking in, and you could maybe answer this. Is it that you need to think it all the way through and you need to hedge your bets and make sure, or is it that you're afraid of failing and looking a little bit foolish? Because I think a lot of people don't go all in because they're like, I'm going to look like an idiot if I fail.
I don't think that it's an issue of failure, of what it might look like if I fail. Now, I suppose it's, if I were to broadcast it out there to everybody, even if it's just, between family and friends and stuff, I don't think that they would all be supportive but and I don't think if I didn't succeed at it, that would be a fear of the failure. It is more that being unsure, having that confidence and wanting to know where it's all going to go before I start. And it's not even knowing what the end result is. It is more of knowing the whole process before I start.
But that still makes me wonder, like, if you need to know the whole process before you start, what's holding you back from learning that process is actually not starting. And I'm wondering, like for me, one of my favorite things is what's the worst that can happen. If we had done what we did the other day and went on to a live selling platform and started a show and nobody showed up.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? I'd be out a little bit of time. I completely understand the think it through to the end if you're making a large investment. If you're having to buy machinery or equipment, or you're going to be putting a large investment in. But for something that you're putting an hour into of your own time and really no cost, I don't get that. Like I have a very hard time understanding that mentality of think it through when it costs you nothing to fail. Okay, I'll switch to my other hat.
Okay. Cory. If you're just listening over on the audio side, Cory had his Grinch hat on, like the Grinch who stole Christmas hat. That's his
that's my thinking hat.
His thinking hat. He puts the Grinch hat on and he thinks, I don't know. It's just in my makeup to try to think that stuff through. Now we talk off the air and stuff a lot. And I wish I had those characteristics that you have of,
you do.
Hey, let's just jump in and try it.
You do. I don't buy that it's in my makeup. I think as soon as you give yourself an excuse to not start, that's exactly what it becomes. It becomes your excuse to not start. Especially, and I can't stress it enough, if you have a lot on the line, think it through.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence, like get things in order. But when there's nothing on the line, it is simply you making the excuse that you need to figure it out, and you've given yourself an excuse not to start. So I don't buy it, Ken. I don't buy it. Sorry.
I can't say that I disagree with that. That in the end, it's always an excuse, and I am trying to do that. Just us talking or having this platform here where we're talking about we're trying to encourage folks to go out and start a 30-day challenge or start a side hustle or do something like that. And I want to do that. I get excited about it. Yep. And it's like, I look at different things that I might do, but when I get to that point of pulling the trigger, I kind of step back. And then I start to make those excuses of everything else that I have to do.
I do look back at life. At all the things that I've ever hesitated to do, like when I hesitate, and I have, like, I'm not guilty of this. I've done it too. All the things I've hesitated to do in the past were things that I had to fully commit on it. They were things that would require me to get out there and publish it to the world, tell everybody, and put it on Facebook and put it on Instagram, and everybody would know. And I was like, okay, but then I'm going to look like an idiot when this doesn't work. Those are the only times I've really hesitated. And it took me a few years to get to the point where I realized that they don't care. Like they don't care. You could tell the whole world, tell your family, tell your friends. And if you fail the very next day and be like, I'm not doing that anymore. They're like, oh, Cory. And then they forget about it and they do their own thing. They don't care.
Yeah. And again, I don't think it's the failure part. Well, you can't fail at something that you don't start. But that's not the reason. And we've talked before on here that some of your biggest failures can be your greatest success. You even from the failure, you're going to learn something. So
if we reword that, are you afraid you're not going to succeed? Maybe it's that. Maybe it's not the fear of failing. Maybe it's the fear of not succeeding.
You know what? If I could put my finger on it exactly, I would be doing, because I'm an idea man. I'm $1 million idea man. I have all of these great things and I get excited. I get like so excited with all of the potential of things that I do, but it's that ending well, that looked like I was shooting myself in the head. It's over. that was me pulling the trigger on new ideas. But what I do like, and I want to go back just a little bit to this the comment from Right Selections talking about that lack of confidence and that holds people back. But they went on in a reply to say that they already had sort of started their second thing or their side hustle before they even saw last week's episode. And they've already made like $4 on that so far. And that's like great. And it's like, you might think like, oh, $4 is, but hey, it's $4 that wasn't in your wallet last week. And that you're $96 away from a 30-day challenge. And you're probably learning something. You're probably
if I knew math, I'd tell you exactly how many times you'd have to repeat that to get to 100, but I don't know math. It's 4 times something.
Yeah.
Or it's 100 divided by 4. Is that 25?
25.
That's in dollars.
That is 25. That's
so they did dollar math.
About 24 more times, 24.25 more times. I think that's what it is to get to $96.
Now that first step is so, for me, I'm kind of a masochist for the mistakes. I love learning, and I learn best by doing, and I don't mind crashing into the wall as long as I know the wall is soft enough that the risk is low enough. Like, you have to be a little calculated. You do kind of want to know what you're doing, but I don't have to know the end because I love the learning process. I love the problem solving of it. Like, that's the part I really like, is the problem solving, and you don't get to solve problems if you don't start, because you can't foresee every problem.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the hangups. Yeah, I sound like oh, don't be afraid to try, because I want to try. I want to do it. I want to do these things. I want to take all of these ideas that are up in my head. And
we talked on the phone today. I gave you like 4 ideas you could go do today.
You did. And they
were good ideas.
I had a guy tell me once that I was a carnival waiting to happen. And, because of all of this stuff that I have, professional sized cotton candy machine, popcorn maker, snow cone machines, that sort of stuff, that I could, number one, I could just rent that stuff out. Everybody's wanting to have a party, and everybody's wanting to do something different at their event or whatever. And whether that's just rent it out and they take it and do it, or maybe I go set up there at their event and help them out with that sort of thing. And that's something that I have.
Just put it in a white van and drive around and make cotton candy for kids. No, that's creepy.
Yeah, that's I don't think I'm going.
Come on in.
Hey,
get you a little bell.
Have nachos.
Nachos.
It's snow cones. Yeah, what were some of the and some of that is then just getting the idea out there. Like, there's so many different avenues that you could go down with just some of the ideas that you were giving me. Like, take that stuff and just start renting it. You put it out there on Facebook Marketplace or in a local group or something.
And that's the kind of thing that people don't think. Like, if I'm having a birthday party for one of my grandkids or something, I don't think rent a cotton candy machine. But if somebody was putting it out there on Facebook and it was in front of my face, I'd be like, that's a great idea. I want to rent a cotton candy machine. Like, it's just something you have to get out there and start doing. And I think it would do well.
In my side hustle finder challenge, or not challenge, but going through the tool that we had talked about, and which is linked down below, by the way. I like to do events. I like to have fun. I like things that are centered around either holidays or that are centered around family events, reunions, picnics, all of that sort of stuff. And some of my stuff is guiding me towards that thing of doing event planning, and which we're coming up here in a little bit. We got some different ideas that we're going to talk about that were we just kind of did a ChatGPT thing about what are some other ideas, what are some other sort of side hustles, and they're things that may be off that you don't normally think about. And
one of the things when we were doing that, it kind of led me down a path of thinking and came up with something that wasn't even on the list, that I was like, Ken, you could go do this, or I could go do this.
Yeah.
And that's what the plants that we were talking about. Like, I buy plants and I sell plants. Like, I propagate plants and sell them all summer long, but then during the winter, I bring my house plants inside, and you can propagate those or pull them apart and plant them in smaller pots and sell those small plants during the winter when nobody else is doing it. And we happen to be like in a Lewis or something, and they're selling their plants on clearance because it's off season.
Okay, so Lewis is like because I don't
like
is
a
that like a
drugstore.
store?
It's kind of like
Okay,
the Walmart of drugstores. But they have
gotcha.
a plant and flower section, and they have
Okay,
some pretty mature plants in there that you could buy on clearance, and you could propagate those or split them up and throw them in smaller pots and sell them for $10, $12 a piece
see,
on marketplace. And they leave your house from the time I make a post to sell plants till the time
uh-huh.
I'm out of plants is usually less than 3 or 4 days.
Really, see, that's something that I would never think about, and it's something that
It's just arbitrage.
as you look around, there's an opportunity like everywhere for something like that. Now, I don't have the knowledge or the skill set, or I would never even think to see a clearance plant and go, I could break that down and replant it and sell
Well,
it. And
if you want to
there'd be,
do this, here's how
uh-huh.
you do it. You go into the plant aisle of any big box store that has plants this time of year, which
Uh-huh.
surprisingly a lot of them do have a plant section.
Yeah.
Go find their plants. When you find a plant, look up the plant name. Like if it says snake plant, look it up on Google. How do you propagate a snake plant? Some of them
Okay.
are just you take it and you split them apart and you put them in different pots. Some of them you have to cut the leaves off of and stick them in water and let them root out. Find the ones you just split apart and put in different
Okay.
pots. Buy those, get some little pots, plant them up, and put them on marketplace. They'll be gone in a week, and you'll make a couple $100 off of a $12 plant.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask that. What kind of money for the effort? So in a 30-day challenge, let's say, there's your couple, there's your $100 right there in a week.
Well, and here's a pro
Week or
tip:
two.
keep one of the bigger pieces for yourself, and
Yeah.
then this summer put it outside, let it get big, and bring it back inside during the winter. And next winter, you won't have to buy the $12 plant. You just split your own plant up. I have a dozen plants in my living room I could split up right now, and then
Yeah.
they're each worth like 40 or $50 a plant, probably easy off one plant. And
See,
I could complete the challenge again just off what's in my living room.
there's just ideas. And I love that idea. I know that we had talked about
There's
that
money
last year
everywhere.
when you start. Yeah. And that's just being able to see it. And once your brain starts to flow in that sort of stuff, you do start
Yep.
to see um those opportunities everywhere. Now you were just saying, and because I want to go to another comment that we had, and that's kind of goes with that selling the plants, or
Yeah.
if you said about going to a birthday party, you never think about getting a cotton candy machine, or having a popcorn maker, and like, where do I even rent one of those? Yeah, there's rental places, but if it popped up in a feed or something. But we had a comment from 10 Hemlock that said, thanks guys, what is the best way to advertise a business, or where would you start? And now there are some questions, there's lots of questions that go in there, but they did answer through the comments that they do local in-person guitar and drum lessons. So
Yep.
music lessons, guitar and drum, trying to figure out where to advertise it. They made a Facebook page for it, but other than that, not sure where to advertise.
That's a good start, having a Facebook page. Unfortunately, a
Yeah,
Facebook page doesn't get seen by anybody.
exactly
But
my thought. Yeah.
the one thing you can do on a Facebook page, which I've done several times and it works really well, organically, no one will ever see your Facebook page. It just doesn't happen. Facebook chokes that
Yeah.
off. It's a pay to play platform with pages, with businesses.
Okay.
So once you have a Facebook page, make a post that says you're doing lessons and here's the link or the phone number or whatever, and then market, like do the Facebook ad on that, but limit it
Okay.
to just your area so that you're only serving that ad to just the people within 50 miles of, say, Madison, South Dakota, if I was doing it
Yeah.
here, so that you could serve it to just those people. That's a good way to do it. And you could do it for like $20
Yeah.
and you could get good results out of that.
Well,
I guess,
even if you're not doing the whole pay to play, and if you didn't want to pay for it at all,
you know,
Facebook, just like
groups.
Facebook Marketplace, Facebook, there's tons of local groups. There's probably tons of local music oriented groups in your area, or just the Facebook Marketplace for services, where if you get that out there, that it may show up into somebody's feed. You're going to put that under the musical instrument section, where people are looking for musical instruments, but then hey, this guy also does lessons. Um,
Yep. Now
there's
you could get old school with it too. For me, my first thought is build a one-page landing page website or something like that,
yeah,
so that I could get it indexed with Google. and then fill out my local Google profile, your Google local. That's where
Yeah.
people would go to leave you Google reviews and stuff. And you have to fill it
Yes.
out and prove you are who you are. They send you a postcard, and you got to wait like 2 weeks for it, and then enter the numbers
Okay.
on the postcard. But get your local Google thing done. That way, when somebody goes on Google and searches for guitar lessons, they can find your website with your phone number on it. That's the
Yeah.
more high tech way, and it takes a little bit more knowledge. But really, if you're just trying to get started and you want that first couple of customers, there's a lot of things you
Yeah.
can do just old school ways. You can go talk to the schools. You can go talk to the music stores. You can go talk
Yeah.
to,
That's
you're anywhere, like anywhere that kids are. You talk to your daycares that take older kids and say, we do lessons. Like there's a lot of kind of guerrilla
yeah.
marketing you can do for local businesses.
Yeah, the local schools and the music department, the music teachers, that sort of stuff. And I was going to also say that the music stores, everybody, most towns have the guitar shop or some
Mhm.
place that sells instruments, rents instruments. I know around here, some of our places, they offer lessons, but some of them don't. And so the ones that are not, or they all have a bulletin board where bands put up their flyers that they're going to
Yeah.
play, or hey, there's guitar lessons.
Now
And
I had a buddy that did guitar lessons, and he wanted to go source from the local guitar store, and they
yeah.
actually hired him to come do lessons there, and they would book him, and he would come in at a certain time. So there may be that
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yes. And that, I guess, overall, these are ideas that could apply to just about anything. Not
Mhm.
just the guitar lessons. That was the specific that Ten Hemlock was doing. But if you were doing, like we were talking about, renting this cotton candy machine and that sort of stuff, with your plants that you were talking about, that you're putting on that Facebook and that Facebook marketplace. Uh,
Yep.
Again, if you just had your static,
Just a free post.
here's Cory's plants page, you, people aren't going to see that as much. And so getting it
No.
out there into as many of the local sort of either selling groups or like-minded, music groups or plant groups or whatever, um,
But
hit
on the
all of
flip
the
side of that,
avenues.
I mean, you might be thinking, okay, I'm not going to pay for ads. What's the use of having a page? And
Yeah.
so to answer that, if I go put a Facebook Marketplace ad out for my plants, I might actually have a little tie-on tag that goes on my plants when they do sell on Marketplace for free that says, visit us at Pops versus Plants, and drive them
Yeah.
to my page so they know who I am and I'm building a brand. So there are
Yes.
benefits to still creating that kind of stuff. I think even with the music thing, another one that's a little out of the box that most people don't think of, go to any bar or venue in your area that does live music. When people are watching live music and they're like, oh, I love that he's playing guitar. I wish I knew how to play. Bulletin board. Check the
Yeah.
bulletin board.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of that. And I know, a number of musicians that when they're not out playing gigs and stuff, they just want to do
They
music.
do lessons.
And
Yep.
they are all doing, right now, one of the big things is getting yourself set up to do those. I know that they said local in-person guitar and drum lessons. Drums might be a little bit harder, but to do online live lessons where
I think,
you can teach somebody, through like a Zoom or whatever, you schedule an appointment that way.
see, and for
And
me, I'm all about like getting it so you can get the most bang for your buck when you're doing something like that. So for me, if I
yeah,
was going to do a guitar lesson, one of my first thoughts would probably be, how can I take this one-on-one lesson where I'm going to earn $40? How can I do this to where I earn 400 instead, or even just say $100 instead of 40? And if you
yeah,
could do it online and do group lessons where you have 4 people at once, you're teaching the same thing. If you're online, you could do that really easily. They all have their own guitar. Let's go through this chord
that's
progression or this scale and teach 4 people at once instead of one, and just multiply what you make in that
yeah.
hour by 4.
Yeah, so, see, yeah, it's just sometimes just talking it through, just like that. If you can do that and take it uh, digital, because one of the other comments that we were working at is let me see, what was that? Cory, talk to the people while I look at this.
I don't I don't know what to say. That I hope any of this is helpful. I hope you're able to use some of it, but I do think you should start looking for how you can turn that into a group lesson as soon as possible. I think that's where you'll be able to actually turn it from, $40 a week to $400 a week or whatever you can get it to,
Yeah.
getting that to where you can maximize your time is going to be super important. Still not finding it, Ken? I'm running out of
No.
words. Okay.
That's all right. We can
That's
cut
all right.
that
We'll
part
move
out.
on. If you love what you're hearing on Unemployed for a Living, join the Break Room. As a member, you're going to get early access to our episodes. You're going to get an exclusive Break Room Access Pass sticker, and you're going to have a chance to have your questions featured on the show. It's a great way to support the podcast and become part of the conversation. So head over to the YouTube channel and click join today.
But yeah, there's all kinds of different ways to market stuff. I mean, depending on the type of business that you're doing and how big and what the scope and what the scale is. Yeah, I mean, you can get all the way up into radio and TV commercials and billboards and all of that stuff. But for this little side hustle things that, I think Facebook, because you can hit that local market is
honestly, I think the first thing I would do if I was going to teach guitar lessons and I needed to get started, I think the first thing I would do is make a genuine post, being completely honest about what you're doing, and put it on my personal Facebook page and share it to all my family members and ask them to share it out to anybody that they thought could make use of it. Just share it out for you. Yes. Try and get one person to sign up and get that first $40. If you get the first $40, keep 20 of it. So you feel like you accomplished something, and put the other $20 into a Facebook ad, and you'll probably get your next 2 or 3 students. But that first push to push that out on your personal thing and kind of tell the world type thing, tell your family and friends to help you share it out. That's not something you should shy away from. That's not something, put it this way. If you're doing a business you're ashamed to share with your friends and family and ask them for help with, you should probably look for a different business anyway. Like, you want to shout from the rooftops what you're doing.
Yes. That kind of brings up, we kind of talked there at the beginning that we had went through some different side hustles, and some of the things that we're talking about here might apply to that marketing and getting stuff out there. And so I think what, Cory, you would kind of went into the AI, to the Chat GPT, and you were just looking for some other ideas of, and some of that came from is you were also watching some different YouTube videos, of people that were doing, that people were doing different side hustles that are kind of out of the norm, or a different way to think about stuff. And one of the ones, so there was like a little list here that we were talking about.
Just throw one up and we'll beat on it for a little while. We kind of covered guitar lessons, and I hope we were somewhat helpful in directions you could go with that. And this is from us who never have given guitar lessons. So,
I couldn't play.
Take what you can and leave the rest.
I can't play the guitar. Now, drums, I could give a drum lesson on, but
I haven't played the guitar in a decade.
Yeah.
And I certainly couldn't teach anybody.
But so one of the ideas that was just like, that made my brain start going, was a local experience host for like Airbnb and travel platforms. And kind of what that means is, like, maybe you're not going to rent out your place as an Airbnb. You don't have an Airbnb, but there's if you have a lot of those things, the bed and breakfasts, the Airbnbs, even just the local hotels in your area, people are coming into town and they might want to do something. Maybe they're there for a couple of days and they want to do stuff. And if you know your area and you know different attractions or whatever, you could market this out to the people that do have the Airbnbs, or even just at your local hotel, if they have a bulletin board or something, that you could put together a little package to show people around your area, or at least just give them some sort of a guide, highlights that there, or even unique things. One of the things that kind of goes along with the reseller stuff that we do primarily, dumpster diving for profit tour. If you're a dumpster diver, let's say you do that, and let's say you go get your stuff, you could, somebody that's in town, that's a reseller, that's or not, or just always thought that looked fun. They may have watched some YouTube videos about it. You could show them, hey, this is what I do. This is where I go. These are the sorts of things that I look for.
See, this is, and even just hearing you explain it, and I put it in the sheet, but just hearing the way you explained it has my mind going a whole different avenue that you could do along those same lines. And that is, go to every single Airbnb and hotel in your area. Yeah. And find out who would be interested in putting, like, local attraction cards in their place, and then go sell advertising on a card to all the local businesses that do any, like the escape rooms in town, the theaters,
Yeah.
anybody that has any kind of a entertainment, the bars, like get them
Yeah.
all to buy advertising space on these local cards that you could go put in to the Airbnbs and the hotels and stuff like that. Like you could literally just be the guy that curates that card.
Yeah.
And
I've seen those. I mean, I've seen those, but if you have, but most of the time when you're in a hotel or one of those places, here's the local pizza shops that are close. Here's you get a coupon for Applebee's that's in your area or whatever. But
do an entertainment one.
If you're, that's all the different things, the different theaters. Maybe some of these, we have a lot of historical stuff. Having a U.S. president from our town. I live in Ohio, in Marion, Ohio. We have Warren G. Harding was a president. And his monument, his tomb is here. There's the Harding home where he lived and did all his campaigning and stuff. And so there's tons of historical sites that people that are coming into town may have not even thought. They don't even know. They're traveling through. They're stopping.
I live in Madison, South Dakota, and I think the best thing we have here is like there was a good sized fish caught over here in this lake near us. But that's like I could show them where.
It was right out there. So there I was.
It was this big. But there's a lot of things along those lines too. If you can't find things to host to show them, you can create those things. Like be the one that does those things. Like you could host a murder mystery theater, rent out the VFW and host one. Like you could do that kind of stuff, and then market it to those people.
All kinds of those events, like the wine or paint and sip, where you basically get.
I'd have to go to paint by numbers. I need one of those number painting things.
And but doing that stuff, and even if you can't, if you're not the one that's teaching it, but you can get in with the local art place that's offering those classes, and you can get with the Airbnbs or the hotels and say, hey, this is going on. But you have to be able to make some money from it. You have to be able to offer that as a service, either to get somebody there, or you might get a little kick, if somebody brings in that coupon and says, hey, you're having this thing, the place that is doing the event, you get a couple of bucks from them for bringing somebody in that's paying. And
you can do special bookings too. I mean, you could have people that are, once your name is out there for this is the guy that puts together the events for crowds, like when you have corporate events in town and stuff like that, as long as they know who you are, there's a good chance you're going to book those events, and you can create specialized events just for that. Yes. Which could be very lucrative. Like corporate events can be very lucrative. We do corporate events at the escape room every year, like Christmas parties and stuff, and those are always great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And you would mention like a murder mystery. I'm actually, Cory, side note, I'm doing a murder mystery with my family this weekend.
I heard you're going to be wearing a wig.
Actually I'm not wearing a wig at this one, but it's Murder at the Disco. And so, wait, you should see. I should have worn on this episode.
Should have worn the outfit.
my outfit that I'm going to wear. That's going to be fun. But I can't make any money
right down that line.
I can't. There was some of that stuff with events that we were talking about. Again, I like event stuff. Unusual. One of the titles was Unusual Rental Business.
Mm-hmm.
Different things that one of the ideas, a luxury picnic setup, where you could go help set up somebody's event. Maybe you just so happen to have a bunch of picnic tables that you could rent out for somebody, or a lot of the local, I know, like right down the street from my house is a park, as I started to thinking about these, and they have pavilions with picnic tables and stuff. And I see people going down there, and you can rent out the pavilion. And I don't even think, since it's a local city public park, I don't even think they rent them. I think it's just a reserve. You reserve it for a time. You can just go there, but you can also reserve it on certain times. But yeah, if you could go in and they're going to have a surprise party at the park or whatever, and you go ahead of time and you decorate this whole place for them in a certain design, so they don't have to do it. You're offering that service of setting up that event.
Well, and you could even do the same, like anything that's kind of hard to get your hands on or difficult to do, you can rent out.
Yeah.
I have a trailer here, and a lot of people are always like, can I borrow a trailer? Can I borrow a trailer? I could rent the trailer out. Like I could just rent the trailer. There's apps to do that, like Uber, where you could put your trailer on there for rent and come pick it up and use it. Like and you can rent out anything. You rent out photo props to photographers. We talked about,
Yeah.
if you have a whole bunch of old Western stuff and somebody wants to do an old Western photo shoot, that stuff's
Yes.
expensive and it's hard to buy, so you can rent it out.
Or somebody's, having a theme party
Yep.
that they want to have, let's say you said that Western, or they're having an 80s, a 70s disco murder mystery party, and you want some props,
Yep.
you can go on Amazon and buy them and all that stuff. Now you're left with a bunch of 70s props. If you have different things, and again, that goes back to that marketing. If you put that out there on a Facebook marketplace in local groups that are along those lines, and people go, oh, well, I wasn't thinking about having a 70s
Right.
disco party, but look, I can rent all of this stuff. Then somebody takes it all back. I don't have it.
Another good example of that rental type business, that model, is there are people that just, their business is selling furniture, but they rent furniture to realtors to stage houses for sale. Like, that's a big market. And you just go talk to the realtors and, like, I have all different styles of furniture. You come in and pick the stuff you want. We can deliver it for a fee and pick it up for a fee. Like, there's a whole business just in renting out furniture to people to stage houses.
The possibilities are so endless. I'm a big, I talked earlier, and people know I'm a big holiday guy. The holiday decorating stuff, the outdoor decorating.
Yeah, I wish somebody would do that around here, because I'd pay them. I'm afraid of heights. I don't like heights. So I'm not decorating. I'm not putting lights up.
But you get your like a cherry picker or something like that truck, with
What's
the
his
bucket
name?
on it, get you up there.
Because I ain't doing it.
But there's that whole thing. I think about that too, is I like to decorate, but if you can, there's all kinds of companies now that'll come out, decorate your house for you. They bring all the lights, they set them up, they take them back. You just have to provide, the power
surprisingly,
where it's at. And
not here. Like, I searched for that after we talked about it. I was like, who's doing like holiday decoration for different holidays in our area? The closest one's like an hour away, and there's only like one or two, and they're lawn care companies, and they charge crazy prices because that's what they do in their off season.
Yes.
Like, if somebody started one around here, they would do very well with it, I think, especially if you did more than just the Christmas. If you would come out and decorate for other holidays, maybe I'm crazy and I want to decorate for Thanksgiving or St. Patty's Day or something. Like, if you offered more holidays than just Christmas, and Halloween would be the main ones.
Everybody has a birthday all the time.
Yeah.
Every week I know somebody that's having a birthday, and birthday parties and doing the balloons, like the balloon
combine that with party rental,
and doing all that. Yeah. A party rental. Yeah. Hey, get my hey, see, I'm getting excited about these ideas myself because I have all of this equipment. It's what I like to do.
I'll sell you a bounce house if you don't have one yet.
I had a bounce house, but I ended up, I got it. It was one of those pay it forward sort of things. I got it from somebody. We used it for a little while, and then I passed it along to somebody that I knew that had small kids and looking to keep them entertained during the day. And so
we have two of them. We had to repair them. We got them at a garage sale, and they needed patched, and we patched them, and our grandkids play in them. But we have two of the smaller. They're like bounce house / water slides.
Yeah, I think I have access to one of those big water slide things that I could rent out again for. So this is kind of rental heavy. One of the other ideas I just get to, that as we talked through this today, like knife sharpening and lawnmower blade sharpening. Okay, it was just another side hustle, and there's probably people in your town that are do it, but most of the time people bring the blades to them. Couple days they get them back, or they go pick them up. But if you're a lawn guy, or if you have that sort of equipment, either the grinders or they sell bench top machines that you can just run it through, or that are actually portable. And we talk about what about that service of going to the person's house? They don't have to bring the mower in. You can go there, you take the blades off. There's a lot of people that don't understand how to get the blade off. What is it? They know it needs sharpened, and they don't know how to take it off. You take it off for them.
We mow
right there on site.
We mow about 6 acres once a week during the summer, and we have to sharpen our blades a couple times. And we have those big 0-turn mowers, and to get the blades off one of those, you have to jack it clear up in here. You got to take the blade thing off and flip it upside down. Like, it's a job. if somebody had the equipment, they could just come out, lift that thing up, pull the blades off, sharpen them, and put them back on.
Yeah.
We would pay for that. And imagine people that are 20 years older than me doing that. Like they're not going to crawl around in the gravel getting them blades off. So if you just had a mobile lawnmower blade sharpening and you didn't do any other kind of blades, but you can expand that into, you do a mobile knife sharpening service and just contract with all the local restaurants. Like there's so many directions you could take with the sharpening once you're into it. But if you just started in one of those areas, you could do just chainsaws. You do scissors. Scissors are huge. People have scissors sharpened. One I learned after we talked today is dog groomers. They always have their shears and their clipper blades sharpened. They send them out to get them sharpened. If you could go there and do it, that would be a huge plus for them. You could sharpen them, give them back the same day.
Yeah, it is. I think the thing that I take away from all of these discussions that we have is there's so many opportunities from the single opportunity that you thought of.
Yeah.
And it's just thinking it through, and it's just, oh, well, I could do this and I could do this and I could do, and then your brain starts to spin. See, Cory, then your brain starts to spin and then you overthink it and then you go, okay, I'm just not going to do that at all because it's too overwhelming and I'm going to do that. And, oh, I don't have time to go out and
I'll bet I could
sharpen blades. I don't have time to go set up a ping.
I'll bet I could make $100 in the next 30 days just sharpening blades for dog groomers. And I know nothing about that right now. As of this moment, I know nothing about it. And I would be willing to bet that if I went down and I talked to all the dog groomers, there's 4 in town.
Okay.
If I just went and talked to all the dog groomers and said, let me sharpen your blades, I'll give you a discount. I'll do them this time. If you like them, we'll keep doing them. And just go sharpen their blades. I'll bet I could make $100 in the next 30 days doing that. And all I would have to do is probably spend 30 minutes on YouTube and figure out how to sharpen a damn clipper blade.
Yeah.
Which is not science. I mean, there's nothing magical about that. It's not difficult to do. I'm sure you could learn it.
And I bet you that I'll
from
think
that
about
you could
that.
expand.
I can guarantee that I'll think about that for the next 30 days, Cory. And then
that's what I mean. Like you could literally pick anything and just go do it and see if you hate it or love it. If you fall in love with it, and I keep doing it.
That's the point. And I don't know.
There's money everywhere. It is so easy to make money in this country in this day and age. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to get rich, but it's so easy if you just if I just had a water heater go out and I need $1,000, that is not a difficult thing to go out and make that over the next 30 to 60 days.
Yeah.
Anybody could do it. And I don't care if you're disabled, if you're in a wheelchair, if you're too old to move. Like it really doesn't matter. If you have access to the internet, you can make money in this day and age. The only reason you're not is because you're giving yourself an excuse not to start. And it's Ken's fault mostly. I think Ken is advocating. Yeah, you should. I mean, I think it's your fault.
But I hopefully that when we have these conversations, we talk about stuff, and you just start to think about it, and so many different avenues and so many different things that you can do. It is exciting. And if I were actually started in one of those, or like the comments that we read there, somebody's already made $4, somebody's already in there, and so we want to hear too in the comments is, if you are doing the 30-day challenge, if you are starting on something, if you have a good idea. That and maybe you just have some what's holding you back and or if you have questions on that, it was great to just kind of kick around, somebody ask a question, how would you go about marketing that? And
I'm seriously considering I'm seriously considering when we're done here, like in the next couple of days, dividing up all my houseplants and selling off. Like I'm seriously considering just doing that and just like lap you again. Just like, Ken, what do you
Cory's doing a 30-day challenge like every week, and he's making $100 every week. And
you got the Easter decorations behind you on the shelf. I could see them. All you got to do is go set them up for somebody.
That's right.
You got some bunnies back there. It's not even Easter. Just go set them up anyway.
Yeah, I know. We still got like St. Patrick's Day and everything else to go through yet. And I don't know. Those were actually, they're kind of there. I had them up because they were sitting here in my way, and it's like I'm going to set them right here, and then it just.
I still kind of like the singing telegram idea for you.
I should do that. See, Cory comes up with more ideas. Cory spends more time thinking about what I should do
Well,
than
that's not
he
true because
does.
I'm still doing mine too. I just can't shut my brain off, so I got to give somebody else work.
But yeah, so are you like me? You think it through. Are you like Cory? Are you doing it? If you are doing it, let us know. If you are not doing it, let us know why. Just interested to hear the stories. And when I read through the comments, I get motivated myself by somebody that says that they've done something or that they're starting something. Um, and
And this
uh,
episode is brought to you by Nike. Just do it. Get it?
I do.
No, we're not
I
sponsored by Nike.
No, I wish we were sponsored by Nike.
I wish we were sponsored by
Uh,
anybody.
Anybody, Kraft
Well, we might
macaroni and
get a
cheese.
sponsor if she gets her or he or she gets their guitar lesson business up and running. We could maybe sponsor them,
There you go. We
or
could
they
do
could
that.
sponsor us. How's that work? No, that costs us money.
And so we have actually been looking at, and maybe we're going to do that next week, Cory. We talked about reviewing some different, like going out on YouTube or going out, maybe even there's an idea in the Facebook marketplace and looking for items that, or businesses or things that people are doing in the area, in your
Just dig
area,
in deep.
or look and just say, okay, how is this person doing this? What are they doing? How are they making money off it? Yeah.
Maybe you guys can help. If you have a certain side hustle or a business that you want us to dig deep into and just analyze it on this show from a point of no knowledge, let us
There you
know.
go.
And like, we're looking for ideas. We'll find some, whether you post any or not. But if you have ideas you want us to dig into,
Yes.
whether it's blade sharpening or drop shipping or whatever it is, selling on Etsy, just let us know. And we can dig into it, because we're going to be digging into a lot of different side hustles in the upcoming episodes.
Yes.
And we're going to analyze them as well as we're able from the outside looking in.
Yeah. And I think, sometimes it's just that different viewpoint, that different set of eyes. I always do.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I do when I have kind of overanalyzed and overthought about it. I'll talk to somebody, I'll talk to Cory, I'll talk to Jill, I'll talk to somebody, and you say, oh, this is what I'm thinking. I've got this plan all worked out, and this is how it's going to happen, and I'm going to make all this money. And then that person goes, well, what about this?
Do you ever watch Lewis Black?
I have. Yeah, comedian.
He says, I've got an idea. And the other guy says, and I can make it shittier. That's you and
me. Yeah. Well, I always say that, I talk about how I'm an idea man. I have really great ideas. I think I do. And there were some old commercials back in the day for a company called BASF. And their commercials were, we don't make the product you buy. We make the product you buy better. I don't even know what BASF did, but that's...
Well, they made the product you buy better.
I know that's what they did, but I don't know what the products that I bought that they made better. So their marketing wasn't that great because I didn't know. But I always thought about that. I'm good, and maybe that's a thing. I like to take an idea and I like to think through it, and I like to come up with all of these good, and maybe that's a direction that I could go, is
a think tank guy.
Fix my side hustle. Yeah, think.
I love that. I would absolutely love that. Like, fix my side hustle type thing. Just go into people's businesses and help them tear them down to the roots and find out what's working and what's not. I would love that. Like, that's right up my alley.
That goes back to what I was just saying about sometimes no matter how much I think it through, the very first person or the very first time you bring it up, somebody has a different viewpoint. Somebody has a different mindset. They have a different eye for a direction, and to go in and offer those services to somebody.
Well, that should never stop you anyway, because there's a million ways to do any one thing. And I mean, with something like that, you just got to take the first, I guess, ask yourself this: if you're going to start doing any kind of a side hustle, who are you helping and how can you help them? Like seriously, if you just step back and say, okay, I'm going to sharpen dog clipper blades. Who am I helping and how can I help them? They don't have to send their stuff away for 2 weeks at a time. That's how I can help them. I can get it done right then and there. And I'm going to help all the dog groomers and barber shops around town that need to send their stuff out for 2 weeks at a time or buy new ones all the time. That's who I'm helping and how I can help them. If you can answer those two questions, don't worry about the money, because it'll come.
Yeah.
As long as you're helping somebody and you know who that somebody is, the money will The
See,
money
I
will
like
come.
that. I like that. I like that thought process right there. And I think we're going to leave them with that this week, Cory. Think
And
about who
that's
you're
another
helping and how you're
episode
helping them.
of Unemployed for a Living podcast. We will see you next time. Did I do that okay?
That was good. I
That was
liked it.
good. Cut.